Have you ever argued about which teaching is highest and then noticed your heart getting colder while your mouth gets louder? Have you ever wondered why some people read the Lotus Sutra and become quiet not because they have nothing to say, but because something inside them finally sees the truth? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a title that many people have heard, but few people have truly tested in their own life. The Lotus Sutra is often called the King of Sutras. Some people treat that like a slogan. Some people treat it like a contest. Some people treat it like a badge to wear in debates. But the Lotus Sutra was never meant to decorate your identity. It was meant to transform your mind, your karma, and the direction of your destiny. So here are the main ideas we are going to live with today. 1. The Lotus Sutra is not king because it wins arguments. It is king because it points directly to the heart that can hold all methods without contempt. And it turns the path into something you can practice in one thought, in this very moment, inside ordinary life. 2. The proof is not a rumor from history. The proof is not a story that you repeat to feel special. The proof is the change inside you when you finally understand what one thought really means. The thought that decides whether you plant greed or wisdom, whether you plant anger or compassion, whether you plant confusion or clarity. And if you stay with me, I want you to feel this not as theory, but as something you can touch, something you can use the next time life tries to pull you into your old habits. Let me start with a scene that is probably familiar. A group of sincere people are sitting together. Maybe they are in a community. Maybe they are online. Someone brings up the Lotus Sutra. Someone says it is the highest teaching. Someone else says that is pride. Another person says no, it is compassion. Another person quotes a line. Another person quotes a different line. The conversation heats up. Voices sharpen. People start defending and attacking. And suddenly, even though everyone is using sacred words, the atmosphere feels like a fight. If you have ever seen that, I want you to notice something. In that moment, nobody is holding any sutra. The sutra is being used as fuel. The ego is driving. And here is the uncomfortable truth. The mind can use anything to build superiority, even a teaching about compassion. It can use morality to shame. It can use philosophy to dominate. It can use the name of a sutra to create a ranking in the heart. That is exactly why we need to ask this question with honesty. If the Lotus Sutra is called the King of Sutras, what does that really mean? What kind of king creates humility instead of arrogance? What kind of king creates compassion instead of contempt? To answer that, let us go into a story. I will call the main character Nathan. Nathan was intelligent, sincere, and ambitious. He did well in school, did well at work, and he brought the same energy into spiritual life. When he discovered Buddhist teachings, he felt like he had found a new world. He read constantly. He listened to talks while commuting. He collected quotes. And he loved debates. At first, his studying helped him. He learned about karma and became more careful with his actions. He learned about impermanence and became less clingy. He learned about mid-lessons and became calmer for short moments. But then something changed. The more he learned, the more he started feeling superior. It was subtle. He did not walk around bragging. But inside, there was a voice that said, I know more than they do. I am more serious than they are. They are still trapped in shallow views. That voice did not feel evil. It felt like progress. It felt like confidence. But it was actually pride. And pride has a strange effect. It gives you a temporary high, but it quietly ruins your relationships. It turns conversations into battles. It turns other people into problems. It turns compassion into a performance. Nathan did not see that clearly yet. One day, his friend invited him to a small study group. The group was reading parts of the Lotus Sutra. Nathan had heard the title King of Sutras and he was curious, but he was also suspicious. He thought that title sounded like propaganda. He thought it sounded like people trying to sell their favorite text. So he came with a sharp mind. He sat down, listened, and quickly began comparing. He compared the Lotus Sutra to other texts he respected. He compared it to teachings about meditation, to teachings about emptiness, to teachings about discipline. He looked for contradictions. He looked for weaknesses. He looked for reasons to say, "This is not that special." And then the facilitator asked a question that annoyed him. Instead of asking which teaching is highest, ask what teaching makes your heart widest. Nathan felt offended. Widest heart did not sound like a serious metric. He wanted logic and rankings. But the group continued reading. And something strange happened. The Lotus Sutra kept returning to themes that did not fit his debate style. It kept pointing toward universal capacity for awakening, not to inflate ego, but to dissolve contempt. It kept emphasizing skillful means, not to build hierarchy, but to show compassion toward different minds. It kept calling the practitioner back to the living mind, the mind that can choose in this moment. Nathan listened with tension. He wanted to argue, but he also felt something uncomfortable in his chest, like the text was reading him. After the gathering, he stayed behind and spoke with an older woman in the group. I will call her Grace. Grace did not act impressed by his intelligence. She did not fight him either. She just asked, "What do you think makes it king?" Nathan answered quickly, "People say it is the highest. Maybe because it includes many teachings. Maybe because it is profound. But honestly, I think titles like that cause arrogance." Grace nodded. Then she said something simple that changed how Nathan heard the whole phrase. If a teaching becomes a reason for arrogance, you have not understood it yet. The real king does not create pride. The real king rules your inner chaos. Nathan frowned. Grace continued, "Look at your own life. When anger rises, who is ruling? When craving rises, who is ruling? When fear rises, who is ruling? If those forces rule, then the king is not wisdom. The king is your habits." Nathan tried to respond, but he felt exposed. Grace said, "The Lotus Sutra is called king not because it defeats other teachings. It is called king because it points to the mind that can contain all teachings and apply them with compassion. It is the teaching that makes you stop looking down on others and start correcting yourself." Nathan felt a strange mix of irritation and curiosity. He asked, "But how is that proof? That sounds like interpretation." Grace smiled gently. "The proof is not in my explanation. The proof is in what happens to you when you practice it." Nathan did not like that answer. He wanted certainty. He wanted an argument. He wanted citations. But he could not deny one thing. His own mind was restless. He was not at peace. He was proud, yes, but pride did not make him happy. Pride made him tense, so he decided to test it. Not for a day, not for a dramatic moment. He decided to test it inside the place where his karma was most obvious, his relationships, because it is easy to feel spiritual when you are alone reading. It is harder when someone triggers you. It is harder when someone misunderstands you. It is harder when someone disrespects you. That is where the true king must appear. Nathan chose one experiment. He would stop using teachings to judge other people and start using teachings to observe his own mind in the moment. It sounded simple. It was not. The next day at work, a co-worker criticized his idea during a meeting. The criticism was not even cruel, but Nathan felt that familiar heat. The heat that said, "I must defend my status. I must prove I am right." He noticed the heat and realized something. This heat is the real battlefield, not the debate about sutras. This is where my destiny is being written. He tried to remember a line from the Lotus spirit, not a quote, but an orientation. Compassion and wisdom as one. Skillful means the heart that does not despise. He took a slow breath. He spoke calmly. He asked questions. He clarified without humiliating the co-worker. He did not win by crushing. He aimed for a solution. The meeting ended without conflict. This might sound small, but it was huge for Nathan, because he realized his usual pattern created enemies. Enemies created stress. Stress created more reactive choices. Reactive choices created more consequences. That is karma. For the first time, he saw karma not as a philosophical idea, but as a living chain. The next test came at home. His partner said something that Nathan interpreted as criticism. Old Nathan would have corrected her with logic. Like a teacher, he would have made her feel small. This time, he paused. He listened. He realized she was not attacking him. She was expressing hurt. He softened. He apologized for the part he could own. He stayed present. His partner looked surprised. Then she said, "You feel different. You are actually here." Those words hit Nathan harder than any debate, because they revealed the true measure of practice. Is your presence a refuge or a storm? That night Nathan sat alone and opened the Lotus Sutra again, not as a battlefield, but as a mirror. He read slowly, and he began noticing what the text kept doing. It kept expanding the heart. It kept dissolving the small self that needs to win. It kept pointing toward a mind that can hold complexity without hatred. He began to understand why a teaching like this could be called king, because it does not only train your intellect, it trains your heart to become wide enough to stop creating needless enemies. Now, I want to pause and bring this directly to you. Most people think the king is the teaching with the most complicated philosophy, but complexity does not automatically liberate. A mind can become very complex and still be cruel. A mind can become very educated and still be greedy. A mind can become very skilled in language and still be trapped by pride. So what kind of king do we actually need? We need a king that can govern the mind when the mind wants to burn the house down. When anger rises, can you govern it? When jealousy rises, can you govern it? When craving rises, can you govern it? When shame rises, can you govern it? When fear rises, can you govern it? If you cannot govern those, then your mind is being ruled by forces that create suffering. That suffering becomes destiny. A king in this sense is the principle that returns you to the source of freedom, the ability to choose a wholesome response in one thought. This is where the phrase "one thought" becomes the real proof. Many people misunderstand one thought. They think it means positive thinking. They think it means if you think happy thoughts, you get happy results. They turn it into a shallow fantasy. But the Lotus Sutra is not teaching fantasy. It is teaching the pivot point of karma. One thought is the moment your mind chooses a direction. That direction becomes speech. Speech becomes action. Action becomes habit. Habit becomes character. Character becomes destiny. So one thought is not small. One thought is the seed. This is why the proof is inside you, not in legends, not in titles. Now let us go deeper into another story, because I want you to see the other side of the same teaching, not pride, but despair. I will call this character Amelia. Amelia loved the idea of wisdom, but she carried a heavy sense of unworth and ends. She thought, maybe some people can awaken, but not me. I am too messy. I have too many scars. My mind is too anxious. I cannot be like those calm practitioners. When she heard someone call the Lotus Sutra the King of Sutras, she felt two things at once: curiosity and resistance. Curiosity because she wanted hope, resistance because she feared being disappointed again. She tried reading it and felt overwhelmed. The scope felt too vast. The compassion felt too big. The promise of awakening felt too high. She thought, this is not for me. Then she met Grace, the same older woman, at a community event. Grace noticed Amelia sitting alone after the talk. She came over unasked. "What is on your mind?" Amelia admitted, "I do not understand why people call it king. It feels too big. I feel small. I cannot believe it." Grace nodded, and she said something that Amelia did not expect. "If you feel small, that is exactly why you need this teaching." Amelia looked confused. Grace continued, "Some teachings help you climb step by step. That is good. But some teachings are medicine for the mind that believes it does not belong. The Lotus Sutra keeps saying you belong, not because you are perfect, but because awakening is your nature. The mind that thinks it does not belong is like a child who forgot their home." Amelia felt tears rise. Grace said, "Do not force belief. Just test one thought. The king will not demand you become a saint. The king will ask you to stop harming yourself in your own mind." Amelia asked, "What does that mean?" Grace said, "Notice the voice that speaks to you with cruelty, the voice that calls you hopeless, the voice that tells you you are behind, the voice that tells you you will never change. That voice is a tyrant. That voice rules your destiny." Amelia sat in silence. She knew that voice well. Grace said, "Now practice one thought. When that voice appears, do not obey it. Do not fight it with hatred either. Just return to compassion. Say, 'I am here. I will learn. I can change. I will not poison my mind today." Amelia tried it. The next time she made a small mistake, the cruel voice rose as usual. It said, "You always ruin everything." She caught it. She breathed. She said quietly, "I am not going to speak to myself that way. I will correct and move forward." That moment felt like a small miracle, not fireworks, but relief. This is what king means. The king overthrows the tyrant inside. For Amelia, the tyrant was self-contempt. For Nathan, the tyrant was pride. For many people, the tyrant is anger, or fear, or craving, or comparison. The Lotus Sutra points to a mind that can liberate all of these by returning to wisdom and compassion in one thought. Now let us talk about why this makes it unique. Many teachings focus on one part of the path. Some emphasize discipline. Some emphasize meditation. Some emphasize insight. Some emphasize devotion. All of these can be powerful. The Lotus Sutra, in the way many practitioners experience it, has a particular function. It gathers. It integrates. It refuses to despise any skillful means, but it also refuses to let you stay trapped in narrow identity. It says, do not use the path to become special. Use the path to become awake. It says, do not use the Dharma to build a wall. Use the Dharma to build a bridge. It says, do not use spiritual knowledge to look down. Use spiritual knowledge to bow inward and correct the mind. That is why, when it is understood, it tends to produce humility rather than arrogance. And that humility is not weakness. It is the clarity of seeing cause and effect. A humble person can learn. A proud person cannot. A humble person can apologize. A proud person defends. A humble person can soften. A proud person hardens. Softening changes karma. Hardening creates suffering. So a teaching that creates humility is extremely practical. It makes your life more workable. Now, I want to take you into a longer narrative arc, because this is a long video script, and I want you to feel the transformation over time, not as a sudden fantasy. After months of practicing the experiment, Nathan realized something. His life was still life. Problems still came. Money stress still appeared sometimes. Family issues still surfaced. But the atmosphere of his life changed. He had fewer enemies. He had fewer regretful conversations. He had fewer sleepless nights replaying fights. He had fewer moments of shame after speaking too harshly. And because of that, his energy returned. With more energy, he made better decisions. With better decisions, his conditions improved. He started seeing karma like a garden. If you plant thorns daily, you get a thorny path. If you plant kindness daily, you get a softer path. He realized he had been planting thorns while quoting flowers. That realization was painful, but it freed him. He began helping in the community, not as a leader, not as a teacher, but as a participant. He started listening more than speaking. He started asking people about their lives rather than correcting them. And then something unexpected happened. People began coming to him for advice, not because he was loud, but because he was safe. His presence became steadier. He did not rush to judge. He did not rush to preach. He could hold pain without panic. This is a sign that the teaching is becoming embodied. Now, one evening the community had a discussion about the title King of Sutras. Someone asked Nathan what he thought. Old Nathan would have delivered a lecture. New Nathan paused. He said, "I used to think king meant superiority. Now I think king means it rules my mind better. It makes me less cruel. It makes me less arrogant. It makes me more compassionate in conflict." That is proof. The room became quiet, not because everyone agreed, but because the sincerity landed. That quiet is the quiet the Lotus Sutra often produces when it is truly understood. The quiet of seeing. Now, let us take this further into your daily life. You might not be reading the Lotus Sutra right now. You might be reading other teachings. You might be new. You might be skeptical. The point still applies. If a teaching makes you more kind, it is working. If a teaching makes you more arrogant, something is off. If a teaching makes you more compassionate, it is ripening. If a teaching makes you more contemptuous, you are feeding ego. If a teaching makes you more responsible, it is real. If a teaching makes you more entitled, it is being used as a mask. So the question is not which text is king in theory. The question is which principle is king inside your mind when you are triggered. Because the moment you are triggered is when your destiny is being written with the strongest ink. Think about it. A calm conversation rarely changes a life. A calm day rarely reveals your deepest habit. It is the moment of heat that reveals who is ruling. When someone cuts you off, who rules? When someone insults you, who rules? When someone ignores you, who rules? When you feel rejected, who rules? When you feel jealous, who rules? When you feel desire, who rules? If anger rules, you plant anger. If fear rules, you plant fear. If pride rules, you plant pride. If wisdom rules, you plant wisdom. If compassion rules, you plant compassion. This is why one thought is the proof. Now, I want to bring in a subtle point that many people miss. Universal awakening does not only mean everyone can awaken. It also means your compassion cannot be selective. If you want real freedom, selective compassion means you are kind to people you like, but harsh to people you dislike. That seems normal, but it keeps the heart narrow. A narrow heart is easily disturbed. It is easily threatened. It is easily defensive. That defensiveness creates karma. A wide heart can hold more. It can face criticism without collapsing. It can face difference without hatred. It can face conflict without needing to destroy. The Lotus Sutra trains that wide heart. It says, do not despise beings. It says, do not build your identity on superiority. It says, use skillful means, which means meet people where they are, not where your ego wants them to be. If you truly practice this, you stop creating unnecessary suffering. Your destiny becomes lighter. That is why some people say the Lotus Sutra is king, because it makes you stop being ruled by contempt. Now, let me give you a scene that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You are in a relationship conversation. Your partner says something that hits your wound. Maybe it sounds like criticism. Your chest tightens. The mind begins its old story. They do not respect me. I am not valued. I must protect myself. I must win. That story is one thought turning into a storm. The Lotus practice is not to pretend you do not feel wounded. The Lotus practice is to return before the wound becomes harm. So you breathe. You soften the face. You place one thought. I will not use this wound as a weapon. I will speak truth with kindness. I will listen before I defend. Then you speak from that place. This is not romantic. This is karmic. If you do this repeatedly, the whole relationship changes. Trust grows. Conflict becomes less toxic. The home becomes warmer. That warmth is blessing. That blessing is karma. This is not legend. This is proof. Now, I want to speak about another common misunderstanding. Some people fear that if they stop ranking teachings, they will lose direction. They think if they do not declare something highest, they will have no confidence. But the Lotus Sutra does not ask you to become uncertain. It asks you to become humble and functional. Functional means you use whatever method reduces suffering and increases wisdom and compassion. You do not use methods to inflate ego. You do not use methods to build identity. You use methods to wake up. That is why it can be called king. It turns the path into function rather than a competition. Now, I want to share a reflection that often creates a deep shift. Many people want to know which teaching is greatest. But the more important question is which teaching you are actually living. You can say you follow compassion, but if you speak harshly daily, you are living harshness. You can say you believe in karma, but if you keep planting poison, you are living denial. You can say you honor wisdom, but if you refuse to learn and apologize, you are living pride. Living is proof. So the Lotus Sutra or being king is not proven by arguing. It is proven by how it changes your living. Now, let us return to Amelia for a moment, because I want to show you how this impacts destiny in a very personal way. Months after Amelia began practicing the one thought of compassion toward herself, her life began changing. She stopped isolating as much. She stopped accepting disrespect in relationships. She set boundaries without hatred. She took better care of her body. She asked for help when overwhelmed. These are not mystical changes, but they are huge karmic shifts. They changed her health. They changed her friendships. They changed her confidence. They changed her opportunities. One day she told Grace, "I still struggle, but I do not feel like a lost child anymore." Grace smiled and said, "That is coming home." This is one of the deepest proofs of the Lotus spirit. It turns the mind from orphan consciousness to belonging consciousness. Not belonging in the sense of entitlement, but belonging in the sense of dignity. A dignified mind makes better choices. Better choices create better conditions. Better conditions brighten destiny. Now I want to bring everything home with a long closing that feels like we are talking face to face. If you are listening today and you are tired of spiritual debates, tired of collecting concepts, tired of feeling like you have to prove something, I want you to hear this gently. The Dharma was never meant to make you superior. It was meant to make you free. Freedom is not a badge. Freedom is a mind that can return. Return when angry. Return when fearful. Return when craving. Return when ashamed. Return when proud. Return when judgmental. In that return, place one thought. May I awaken. May I cultivate wisdom. May I practice compassion. May I respect cause and effect. May I reduce harm. That one thought is the seed of a new destiny. And if you ask me what the King of Sutras really means, I will tell you this. A king is something that governs. The Lotus Sutra is king when it governs your inner chaos and turns you into someone safer, kinder, humbler, and more awake. If it makes you argue more and love less, you are using it wrong. If it makes you bow inward, correct yourself, and expand compassion, you are beginning to understand it. Now I want to invite you to participate. In the comments, tell me honestly, what rules your mind most often when you are under pressure? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it pride? Is it shame? Is it craving? And tell me one moment recently when you returned, even for one breath, and chose a wiser response. If this message helped you, support the channel by subscribing, liking the video, and leaving a comment so more people can find a path that is not about winning debates, but about waking up in real life. And remember, the real proof is not a legend you repeat. The real proof is the one thought you choose next, and the life that grows from it. At the end of the day, we all need something that brings us back to ourselves. Something that reminds us to slow down, breathe, and stay centered. Simple bracelet can do exactly that. Every bead you touch brings your mind back to calm, back to clarity, back to the present moment. If one of the bracelets you just saw resonates with you, you can find the purchase link in the video description and explore more beautiful styles in our channel store. Let the one meant for you find its way to your wrist.